Have you ever had a moment that completely changed the way you see someone? A moment so small, so unexpected, that it rewired your heart forever? The night she turned off the lamp and said, "Now pay attention to me," I thought I was about to be scolded. I thought I had disappointed her. I had no idea that what she was really about to teach me had nothing to do with math, and everything to do with kindness. Before we begin, if stories like this touch your heart and remind you of what truly matters, make sure you subscribe to your channel name, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us keep sharing real, meaningful stories that bring light into the world. Now let me tell you what happened. I was 17 years old and barely passing algebra. Numbers felt like a foreign language to me. My mom worked double shifts at a diner outside our small Ohio town, and my dad had left years earlier. College felt like a dream meant for other kids. Kids with tutors and quiet homes and parents who had time to sit at the kitchen table and explain homework. When I failed my second math test, my guidance counselor suggested tutoring. That's how I met her. Her name was Claire. She was in her late 20s, recently moved back to town, and had this calm, steady presence that made you feel like everything would eventually be okay. She tutored out of a small converted barn on her family's property. There were fields stretching out behind it, a weathered wooden fence, and golden sunsets that seemed to last forever. The first day I walked in, I was embarrassed. I expected someone strict, maybe judgmental. Instead, she smiled and said, "We'll take this one step at a time." For weeks, we met twice a week in the evenings. A single lamp lit the small wooden desk where we worked. The rest of the barn was dim, cozy, quiet. Outside, crickets sang and the air smelled like grass and hay. She was patient. She never made me feel stupid. When I got something wrong, she didn't sigh or shake her head. She just said, "Let's try it a different way." But even with her help, I was distracted. My grades weren't the only thing weighing on me. My mom had been falling behind on bills. I had started working part-time at a gas station after school. I was exhausted all the time. One evening, I showed up late. I dropped into the chair and stared at the open textbook, but I wasn't really seeing the numbers. My mind was racing with worries. Rent, groceries, my mom's tired eyes. Claire explained a problem for the third time. I nodded like I understood. I didn't. She paused. Then, without saying a word, she reached over and switched off the lamp. The room fell into darkness, except for the faint orange glow of the sunset through the window. My heart jumped. "Now pay attention to me," she said softly. I braced myself. But when I looked up, her expression wasn't frustrated. It was concerned. "This isn't about algebra, is it?" she asked. I tried to shrug it off. "I'm just tired." She didn't push. She just waited. And in that quiet, something inside me cracked. I told her everything. About the gas station job. About my mom crying in the kitchen when she thought I was asleep. About how I felt like no matter how hard I worked, it wasn't enough. I told her I didn't even care about passing math anymore because college felt impossible. She listened. She didn't interrupt. She didn't offer quick fixes. She didn't tell me to stay positive. When I finished, I felt embarrassed, like I had said too much. Instead of turning the lamp back on, she walked to the window and opened it. Cool evening air drifted in. "Do you see that field?" she asked. I nodded. "When I was your age, I thought I'd never leave this town. My dad lost his job. We almost lost the house. I worked nights at a grocery store and did homework in the break room." I looked at her, surprised. She seemed so put together. "I almost dropped out," she continued. "Not because I wasn't capable, but because I felt alone." She turned back toward me. "Kindness saved me," she said simply. I frowned. "Kindness?" My high school teacher noticed I was slipping. Instead of lecturing me, she asked what was wrong. She helped me fill out scholarship forms. She reminded me that struggling doesn't mean you're failing. It just means you're human. She walked back to the desk but didn't turn the lamp on. "I can teach you algebra," she said, But what you really need tonight is someone to remind you that you matter more than your grades. No one had ever said that to me before. In that dim room, something shifted. For the first time in months, I didn't feel like I was carrying everything alone. After that night, tutoring changed. Yes, we still worked on equations and graphs. But she also helped me map out a plan. She showed me community college options. She helped me search for local scholarships. She even helped me practice interviews. But more than that, she believed in me out loud. When I doubted myself, she didn't argue. She reminded me of every small win. You solved that without help, she'd say. You showed up even when you were exhausted. That matters. One evening, I mentioned that my mom's car had broken down. Claire quietly handed me a folded piece of paper before I left. It was the number of a mechanic in town. He owes my family a favor, she said with a wink. Tell him I sent you. The mechanic fixed the car for half the price. She never made a big deal out of any of it. No speeches. No look how generous I am moments. Just steady, quiet kindness. By the end of the school year, I passed algebra. Barely. But it didn't matter. Because I had applied to community college. I had received a small local scholarship. I had hope. The last tutoring session felt different. The barn looked the same. The wooden desk, the lamp, the wide fields outside. As we packed up, I said, "Why did you help me so much?" She smiled. "Because someone once turned off the light and paid attention to me," she said. Years passed. Community college turned into a state university. I studied business. I worked part-time. It wasn't easy, but I kept going. Every time I felt overwhelmed, I remembered that night in the dim barn. The way she turned off the lamp, the way she listened. After graduation, I got a job with a small financial firm. Eventually, I started volunteering at a local high school, helping students with resumes and applications. One afternoon, a senior stayed behind after our session. He stared at his paper but didn't write anything. I recognized that look. Instead of correcting his grammar, I closed his folder, and I turned off the classroom lights. He looked up, confused. "Now pay attention to me," I said gently. I asked him what was really going on. And just like I once had, he told me. That's when I understood something powerful. Kindness isn't always dramatic. It doesn't always look like grand gestures or viral moments. Sometimes it's as simple as noticing someone's silence. Sometimes it's turning off the lamp. It's choosing to see the person, not just the problem. Claire never knew how far her kindness would travel. She probably thought she was just helping one struggling kid pass algebra. But her kindness created a ripple. It changed the way I saw myself. It changed the way I treated others. It changed the trajectory of my life. And that's the thing about kindness. You may never see the full impact of it. The extra 5 minutes you give someone, the patient explanation, the quiet support, the decision to listen instead of judge. Those moments matter more than you think. If you're watching this and you feel overwhelmed, unseen, or like you're barely holding it together, I want you to hear this clearly. You matter more than your mistakes. You are not your worst grade, your toughest season, or your current struggle. And if you're in a position to help someone, even in a small way, don't underestimate what that could mean. Turn off the lamp, pay attention. Listen. Kindness has a way of lighting up rooms long after the switch is flipped. So today, choose to be the person who notices. Choose to be the one who listens. Choose to pass on the kindness you've received or the kindness you once wished for. Because somewhere out there, someone is waiting for a small moment that will change everything. And it might start with you.